I'm at Bluefield High School, joined by Beavers junior Mookie Collier, our 2017 WOAY Boys Basketball Player of the Year. Mookie, congrats on a great season and congrats on being named our Boys Basketball Player of the Year.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It's such an amazing and huge honor to be WOAY Player of the Year. This season was such an amazing season for me and for the team. We went 22-4, and not a lot of teams can say they went 22-4. And with this year, I went up to the state tournament for my third year in a row, and fortunately, we lost in the first round. But, I'm just so thankful and blessed that God blessed us all with such an amazing season.
Absolutely. And there was a lot of anticipation entering the fall because, as you mentioned, you were a part of two teams that have made the state quarterfinals back-to-back. And even before the two previous years, they had won the state championship. What was the overall feeling in terms of, entering the fall and getting ready for basketball season because there were so many guys coming back? You mentioned you and Dante Hopkins, Devin Goins, Ryan Davis, and Cody Fuller coming in from Richlands, too.
Oh, yes, sir. After Dante and I got our football season, sir, we got together and got, a couple of the players in the team together. Like, this year could be very special for us. And, we saw our schedule and it's like, it's going to be really tough. And we're glad that Coach, put tough teams on our schedule because that's going to show what we're really made of, sir. But, when we got into the gym starting in, the beginning of November with the basketball team, we just worked really hard, sir, day in and day out. And just we just work hard every day and just keep our faith in God that He'll take care of us for us, sir.
And the season started off very well for the Beavers in general. One thing we noticed a lot of in terms of how the games went was that high-scoring offense. A couple early season losses to Shady Spring and Mountain View was a lot of the reason those games went the way they went was because they were able to limit the scoring opportunities. But most of the time that wasn't the problem for you guys. What would you say was the main thing in terms of having that success on the offensive side of the ball?
Whenever people think of Bluefield, we're just we're a defensive team and we run and run and run. And that's how we mainly score most of our points, sir. It's just, on the defensive end, getting rebounds and just running because, if you play, play good defense, sir, that offense would just lead into that. And we had such an amazing coach, Mr. Fuller, Coach Fuller, with being on our offensive side. He had a couple sets and that he brought from Richlands and that he thought it would better us, and we just did a lot of screen plays and just simple things that got a lot of people open and that kind of opened up everything for the offensive side, sir.
And a lot of great opponents coming to the Brush Fork Armory over the past few months, including Musselman, the team that made the Class AAA quarterfinals. And that turned out to be a very entertaining game because Musselman did get out to a bit of an early lead in the first quarter, but you guys were able to right the ship and get back on track and then get the big win over a Class AAA team. How would you describe that atmosphere? Because it's been a couple months since that matchup, but it was a great matchup at home.
Oh, yes, sir. Knowing that we was going against a really good and powerhouse team like Musselman, we just prepared all week. This game is going to be good. It's either we're going to show up and show, the state what we're really about, or we're just going to lay down and just show the state what kind of team we really are. And Musselman was a really good team, and we knew what they was capable of doing, and they played hard the whole game. And we just was just we got to keep fighting and keep fighting. And they had an early lead, and then just went into halftime. We all talked. I prayed for us and just hoped that we all played well throughout the whole game. And at the end of the game, God blessed us with a win. So we played our best that game, sir.
Absolutely, and that momentum would continue into the postseason where the Beavers were the top seed in the section, a win against James Monroe in the sectional, and then the championship game, the win against Shady Spring, that set up a regional final rematch with Westside. And there's a lot of entertaining games in the recent history between the Beavers and the Renegades, in particularly the fact that earlier in the regular season, you had hosted Westside, and they won on the last-second shot. Yes. Kind of reminiscent of how in last year's regional, you went to Clear Fork and won on the last-second shot in overtime. So how was that in terms of getting to know you were going to face the Renegades again after all the entertaining games you've had in the very recent past? Oh,
yes, sir. Actually, during that week, they was just hopefully it don't end up like it did last year. A couple of players messaged me. It was just don't do it. Don't let that happen again. But, during the regular season, you know, it was when we went down there, it was hard playing down there because, you know, whenever you go down to Wyoming County, it's always tough to play down there. And we played a good game down there, and then they came here, good game here, and just knowing that we had to play them for the third time this season, just it was tough. But you know, we just followed all our assignments, and you know, we played hard. And at the end of the game, God blessed us with a win and a regional championship, and we was going upstate there.
And that was the 6th straight year that the Beavers qualified for the state quarterfinals at the Civic Center. They were the 2 seed in Class AA, taking on Lincoln. And even though it ended up being a 63-59 win for the Cougars, that was just an entertaining game back and forth. A lot of opportunities for both teams to take control of the game, but the other team was able to rebound right back. Would you say, you know, in the aftermath of that, even though it's been quite a few days since that matchup, what's your takeaway from that matchup with Lincoln?
I think, you know, going into that game, a lot of us was just looking ahead into the next game. And, you know, we was just looking at Lincoln like they're number 7 seed, we're number 2 seed, and they're 12 and 13. You know, but, you know, when you look at the teams they played and what they have done, they really played some good teams. And, you know, they beat some good teams and played tough with, like, powerhouse teams like Fairmont as well, sir. Mm-hmm. But we got into the game, you know, they started off hot. We just tried to fight back, but they was just, you know, I think they wanted it more than us, and they was fighting back harder, sir. And, you know, I think it was kind of pretty nervous for us sometimes. Like, I think Cody, that was his first time actually, like, playing up there in Charleston, and a couple other players. I think that was Ron's actual first time because he had hurt his foot the year before, sir, and that was his first time, like, actually playing. And Dante's, I think it may have been Dante's first time actually playing too, because I think his freshman year he I think got the concussion, or sophomore year. Mm-hmm. But you know, just playing up there, it's always tough because any team that makes it up there is really good. And I think some of us, well, all of us, kind of look forward into the next game, and you know, Lincoln was just ready to come out and play, sir.
Absolutely. So the season did end with a 63-59 loss to the Lincoln Cougars. But again, it doesn't take away from a great season that the Beavers had on the court. What's the big takeaway in terms of the legacy that this team will provide as opposed to previous teams that you've been a part of here at Bluefield?
You know, my 9th grade year, I didn't start playing really until, I think, the Christmas tournament we hosted at the Brush Fork Armory, and we had Fairmont in it, Capital, Richlands, Greater Beckley, and teams like those, sir. And you know, that year, it was a good year, and I enjoyed it. But I think with, you know, my sophomore year, I enjoyed it more than my freshman year. But I think this year is the year I really enjoyed the most, sir, because you know, everybody just knew what kind of style of play they were supposed to be playing. Nobody went outside their zone of, you know, what they need to be doing, sir. And you know, we just all play hard, sir, for each other, and we just kept our faith in God, and He blessed us with such an amazing season that we can't thank Him enough for, sir.
Absolutely. Well, now this is the fun segment of this interview where we'll ask you a couple not necessarily basketball-related questions,
yes,
but we've had the privilege to cover you for a couple seasons now, with this being your junior year.
Yes, sir.
And first off, what would you say is your regular pregame routine? Is there anything you like to do beforehand or the morning of a game? Or?
Oh, yes, sir. Well, every morning I take a shower, I get ready, and after I get ready, sir, I have a Jesus Daily Bible, sir, and I read 2 segments of that in a verse of the day, sir. And after that, I get down on my knees and just pray that, you know, God just bless the whole team and just everybody in the community to just wake up safely, have an amazing and blessed day, and just be ready to play. And then usually when I get to the game, I have my headphones on and stuff, sir, and I usually rap or sing a song pretty loudly because I get into the zone a little bit, sir. And then I go in the locker room and I sit there and just listen to my music. I get ready. Then our trainer, Charlie Dotson, would stretch me, go back in there, and Coach would say his little pregame stuff. And then before we go out, I would do like a little stretch or whatever, take a deep breath, and just clear my mind and just be ready to play, sir.
And would you say there's a specific song that you make sure to listen to every single time before you take the court for warm-ups or before a game, or is it just a mix of songs that you like to listen to?
It's a specific song, sir. You know, like I usually put my playlist on shuffle, but then, you know, when I go into the gym, I play that one song that gets me into the mood, and then whenever I'm about to go into the game, I listen to just that song a little bit to get me back in the mood, and then I'll clear my mind, sir, and just be ready for the game, sir.
How about pregame meals? Are you a big believer in pregame meals or postgame meals?
You know, we would have, sometimes we would have like things that we would go do. Like we would go, one day we went to the church and we ate there, and there was a pregame meal. And I usually don't really eat a lot on pregame meals because, you know, I eat a lot, then I think that, you know, I won't be moving as I would move, sir. But I usually eat a little something before the games, and then sometimes I would kind of like take a little nap, because then whenever I wake up, I feel, you know, just energized, sir. And then after the games, that's when I eat a lot, sir.
Yeah, and what would you say is kind of the routine you go through after a game in any environment? When you're going through the handshake line, you're headed back to the locker room, you know, just cooling down from the intensity of a game where, in all likelihood, you would play all 32 minutes if possible. What's kind of the mindset that you go through? Is it the same every game in terms of post-game routine, or does it vary from opponent to opponent?
I probably would say, like, you know, it's like that every game, but sometimes when I know what kind of team we're going against, it kind of like varies, sir. But, you know, after we shake hands, whatever the game is over, you know, I go into the locker room, or, I mean, Coach Jones will talk to me, I'll talk to him, sir, and I would go into the locker room, and I just thank God for blessing us with a win and blessing us, nobody to get injured or anything, sir, and just, you know, I thank him for the win, because, you know, on any given night, any team can be beaten. And with the season we was having, a lot of teams, you know, we had blue felt across our chest, so a lot of teams will want to beat us, sir. So every night, every night after a game, I would pray and thank God for blessing us with a win and nobody get injured, and, you know, just be ready to move on to the next game, sir.
Absolutely. Now, you play not just basketball for the Beavers, you also compete in football and track.
Yes, sir.
What would you say is the big challenge that you face anytime you're transitioning from one season to another? Because football to basketball is certainly not an easy transition to make, and I can't imagine, you know, basketball to track being that much different.
Yes, sir. When, you know, going to football season, just knowing, you know, from the last name I have, Collier, my brother, he used to, you know, he's an amazing athlete, but whenever I go into football season, sir, it's like people are just like, you know, Mookie Collier, like that's the main man on the team, and I don't think of myself like that or anything, because it's a team thing, and, you know, whenever people like key in on, you know, me, sir, that leaves other people open, and, you know, great opportunities for other players, and that's what makes me happy, sir, is seeing my other teammates succeed. And then going into basketball season, that, you know, the same thing, because my brother played basketball like hell, and he was such an amazing player, but we have like two different roles, sir, and we had two different play styles, but you know, the same thing as in basketball season, and that just opens up a lot of things for other players. And like I said, I love when my other teammates succeed, sir. And then the track is like, you know, we all in it together, and we, like, in a 4x1, you just have, like, you just do your own little thing, sir. So, so it is pretty tough, sir, when you're transitioning from football to basketball, then from basketball to track, and then I just do it all over again, sir.
Certainly. And now, as a junior, you still have 1 year left here at Bluefield High School, but we've been talking, you know, you are certainly considering a lot of options for college. Is there any one sport in particular that's sticking out to you in terms of what you would want to pursue at the college level?
Oh, yes, sir. You know, I work hard in each of the sports I play, sir, but I think that, you know, I have a feeling that God's just telling me that football is the sport for me, sir. You know, because I play basketball, and, you know, I'm not really that tall, but I'm I'm pretty athletic, sir. So, you know, that kind of like varies down because usually at like, you know, D1 levels, D2s and D3s, you have bigger guards that's like 6'1", 2, and it, you know, goes on, sir. And with football, a lot of schools are looking at me for, I think, running back and slot receiver and stuff, sir. So I think football is the sport, but I'm also try to run track in college too, sir.
Absolutely. Well, we wish Mookie the best of luck on this upcoming track season, your senior season here at Bluefield next year,
Yes,
and then your future endeavors in college. And that will wrap up this interview. Mookie, congrats again on a great season, and congrats on being our WOAY Boys Basketball Player of the Year for 2017.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And I thank the whole WOAY organization for blessing me to win this award. You know, I've never imagined me winning this award, but I thank God, my family, my teammates, and the coaching staff, and Coach Jones for always pushing me to work harder. And I'm thankful to have Coach Jones in my life, my family, my coaching staff, and the teammates that I had on my team, sir, to bless me to win this award. Not only did I win this award, but they did as well, sir, in Bluefield High School. Thank you, sir.